is Donald Trump actually going to testify in his own defense? Well, that depends on what day you ask Donald Trump.
I would have no problem testifying. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm testifying. I tell the truth. I mean, all I can do is tell the truth. And the truth is that there's no case. They have no case. And
well, I would if it's necessary. Right now, I don't know if you heard about today. Today was just incredible. People are saying, the experts, I'm talking about legal scholars and experts, they're saying, what kind of a case is this? There is no case.
Well, I'm not allowed to testify. I'm under a gag order. I guess, right? I can't even testify.
The gag order stop you from testifying?
No, it won't stop me from testifying. The gag order is not for testifying.
And Judge Juan Merchan confirming today, as we all knew, the gag order does not stop Trump from testifying, nor does it limit what Trump can say on the stand. Our legal panel is here. We want to dig into all this. Paul, I want to start with you. What is your sense right now in terms of when you talk to his defense team, what they're thinking about as they've watched this play out? Is their client going to testify?
According to sources I've spoken with, at the beginning of this trial, this is absolutely something that was on the table. They believe that their client was capable of getting on the stand and adding constructively to his defense. Now, I pointed out his conduct in the last few civil trials. Here, just blocks from here, I said, look, he didn't behave himself. He was rude, at times obnoxious, and that really hurt him when it came to the verdicts in those cases. And they said that he had learned some lessons there. But I think what we've seen is in his answers an evolution, making it seem less likely that he's inclined to do that. That could be because he sees the risks. It could also be because the defense is like, we don't need it. We're really doing well here with the witnesses that the prosecution has put on. I hope they do well with their own witnesses as well. So at this point, if I had to bet like $5, I wouldn't bet like big money. I don't think that he will take the stand.
All right, you've heard it. There's money on the table here. I want to bring in Tom Dupree. Tom, Judge Merchan is yet to rule on the 4 additional alleged Trump gag order violations. After initially ruling, Trump violated it 9 times, $9,000. What's your sense of when we could see a ruling come down, and how much patience do you think the judge has here if these violations continue?
I think we're going to get a ruling on those other gag order issues early next week. I don't think the judge has a huge amount of patience for Trump and violations of the gag orders that happened in the past. That said, the latest batch of alleged gag order violations didn't seem to irk the judge quite as much as the first batch does. So although I would expect him to impose some sort of sanction, I don't think he's going to drop the hammer here. And as far as Trump testifying, I don't see it happening. If I were on the Trump defense team and he wanted to testify, I would tackle him before he made his way to the podium. It will not help the defense, and it will give the prosecutors a Pandora's box of issues to open and cross-examine Trump on.
All right, so we've got somebody putting $5 on it. Tom is saying he would physically intervene if this happened. Do you think the former president should testify on this as a lawyer?
Oh, as a lawyer, no. My goodness. Defense lawyers never want defendants charged with crimes opening their mouth on the stand. It can go any way. It can be broadened. You say one thing, it's a trapdoor to something else. And who is the biggest mouth on the planet? Donald Trump. It would be the last thing. But the rule of law is that the client decides whether or not they testify and not the lawyer. So that's the one piece of strategy in a case that is only up to the defendant. So the lawyers decide what witnesses they're calling. They decide the order of the witnesses. They decide what testimony they want to elicit. But this is purely a decision in Trump's domain. And I want to add something, a very interesting observation about Donald Trump from today that came out of Hope Hicks, because I was on his television show, The Apprentice. Right. And I know how he operates when people talk out of line. And when Hope Hicks first took the stand, it was reported from inside the courtroom that he closed his eyes. And there's been a lot of reporting on that, oh, he's sleeping. How could he be sleeping while this is going on? And then yesterday, you remember, social media posted that I wasn't sleeping when my eyes are closed.
Beautiful blue eyes.
My beautiful blue eyes. I'm taking it all in. I don't think he's taking it all in. I think he is coping. And I think he is self-soothing when he closes his eyes. It has nothing to do with sleep. I think he knew the moment that Hope Hicks was taking that stand that it was going to be heartache for him. It was going to be embarrassment for him. It was going to put together the 3 pieces of his life that are the theme of this trial: his business operations, his campaign operations, his White House operations. And then lastly, his personal interactions.
Right.
I don't think he had much care for any of the other witnesses, even though he said David Pecker, like you said earlier, is his friend of 20 years. He doesn't care about Michael Cohen. He cared about Hope Hicks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Keep wanting to call her Stormy Daniels for no reason at all.
To that point, though, because actually it brings me to the question I want to ask Tom. Tom, when you Paul and I've talked about this often, how important Hope Hicks was just because of her role. We don't know who the prosecution will or could call on Monday. We know a whole lot of people who played very significant roles in this whole process that haven't testified yet. Who do you think is next?
Well, I don't know if he's next, but I can assure you we're going to hear from Michael Cohen at some point. I mean, he's the one who's going to have to connect all the dots here, Phil, because what the prosecutors have been doing is putting forward an arguably compelling circumstantial case. They're showing that Michael Cohen was working behind the scenes, busy as a beaver, trying to open LLCs and cut deals and that sort of thing. But what the prosecutors have yet to do is to directly connect Trump to what Cohen was doing. That's the missing link. They need to draw that line. I'm not sure how they're going to draw that line other than putting Michael Cohen on the stand. And when they do that, it's going to be Katie bar the door and cross-examination, because that is the moment that the Trump defense team has been waiting for all of these months.
Yeah, there's no question about that. What's your sense right now in terms of, does the prosecution feel like they need to do more, put more people up, build more towards Cohen? Is he possibly on Monday?
So it's a fair question, and we expect Michael Cohen's testimony could take a full week, both the direct and cross. Now, we have a couple photos up there. I think it's less likely now that Kellyanne Conway would need to be called, because really the most important thing that she would contribute, we expect, you never know what you don't know, is the impact of the Access Hollywood tape on the campaign, and Hope Hicks really got at that. Also, Karen McDougal, again, her catch and kill deal is not at the center of this criminal case. It's unclear what additional value she would add. So I'm sure they might have some other summary witnesses, perhaps, those folks who get up, help introduce evidence. It's possible they could call some folks who worked at the Trump Organization. We know the defense lawyers will do that to bolster their argument that Trump really wasn't aware of what was going on with the invoices and this retainer. But it is possible that Cohen could go next week.